there's just, I said this on the Patreon the other day. I don't really get that upset with what people say because I know how cheap words are. And most people that are talking to you are lying and making things up. Most people are trying to make themselves sound more interesting by lying. They'll make up things that never happened to them and they'll say it. They'll tell you stories from movies that they think you didn't see and then try to pretend that they lived through them. This is how desperate most human beings are for any level of attention. They just don't care. So words to me don't mean anything. Literally, no matter what you say, I understand that words, of course, do mean things. But I'm very cynical. Unless you show me something, unless I'm able to deduce, like what you say to me is absolutely, for the most part, as irrelevant as anything. When people just pop off and talk, I mean, I have friends that I like that I know are pathological liars that will sit at a table with you and make up something that's just completely untrue and get called out on it and really don't have any shame. This is just, I assume when people are talking to me, I assume that most of them are lying. I just assume you're making something up. And then if it turns out to be true, I go, oh, nice. If it turns out to be an actually true thing, I go, oh, that's nice. I just, you can't trust people because all they're trying to do is be funny or interesting. And they'll say anything. People will literally just say anything. People talk about things they have no idea what they're talking about, and they just go. They just go. There's no shame. They just go. They just go right. They just let it out. Doesn't matter. They don't have to know about it. How many times do we sit in a room and people start talking to Rogan about fighting? They start telling him what the deal is. It's like, what are you saying? Shut up. Will you shut up? They don't care. They just talk because they don't know what else to do. They're very uncomfortable with silence. So they just talk. I've members of my family like that. They don't know anything and they say ridiculous things because people don't call them out. And they just say things that don't make any sense. Just let it happen. You can't get angry. People get angry that boomers go on Facebook and light it up. Let them have it. Who cares? It's funny. They're crazy. They're almost dead. They've never had a platform like this where they could just launch. They could just go. It used to be a corner bar. Now it's Facebook. They could just launch. They don't need to have the facts. Doesn't matter to them. They want to be heard. Boomers, by the way, it's the first generation that has a shit ton of life experience and no wisdom. Like they're like, I've been on this planet a long time. It's like, and you ruined it. Shut the fuck up, half of you, not all of you, but a lot of you should just pipe down. Just go out quietly. You destroy. It's like you inherit a house, you burn the house down. Just leave quietly. Just exit quietly. Don't be loud on the way out. You burned it down. And that's not everyone, but let them launch on Facebook. Let them pop off. Anyone still on Facebook in any meaningful sense right now is a mental patient. And I mean that. If you're on Facebook trying to make a point, you're nuts. It's a graveyard. I see people that I kind of respect on and they go into these multi-paragraph things on Facebook, and they're like, well, here's how I see it. Here's how I see it. Could there be anything less appropriate than your take on Facebook? There's nothing to say anymore on that site. It's like the people who are still there are sick. You're convincing sick people? My mother is in a mental institution. They're all more well-adjusted than my Facebook timeline. You know, if you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.